I knew something was wrong before we even parked the car. Not because anyone said anything. Because the house felt prepared. You can tell when people have spent money they didn't explain. It smells like fresh paint, sawdust, and silence mixed together. My daughter, Hannah, jumped out of the car first. Her backpack bounced against her shoulders, and she held her violin case like it mattered more than anything else she owned. "Do you think Great-Grandma will be there today?" she asked, tightening her ponytail. She always did that when she was nervous. Like pulling her hair tighter could hold the world in place. "She's at her apartment," I said. "Not today." Hannah nodded, but her eyes stayed hopeful anyway. Like maybe Great-Grandma had changed her mind overnight and come back to the house because she missed the sound of strings and lemon polish. We walked up to the front door. I had a key, not because I was trusted, because I was useful. Inside, the hallway rug was rolled up and covered with plastic. Cardboard boxes lined the wall. Blue painter's tape marked doorways like boundaries that didn't exist before. "Are they fixing something?" Hannah asked. "I don't know," I said. That was a lie. My stomach already knew. We reached the back window. The yard was destroyed. Where grass used to be, there was dirt. Piles of it. Wooden frames and metal rods stuck out of the ground like bones. A foundation. Hannah stared. "Is that a house?" "I think so." "For who?" "I don't know." She looked at me like I was supposed to. I wasn't. "Let's get your violin," I said. The music room was down the hall. It had been Great-Grandma Ruth's room for as long as I could remember. Temperature controlled. Small humidifier humming quietly. Shelves full of old sheet music and handwritten notes. Hannah loved it in there. She said it smelled like peppermint tea and would polish. I pushed the door open. The humidifier was still running. The stand was still there. The corner where the violin case always sat was empty. Not moved. Not hidden. Gone. Hannah froze. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She walked slowly to the corner like something might jump out at her. She checked behind the chair. Then inside the cabinet. Then she looked at me. "Did Great-Grandma take it back?" "No," I said. "Then where is it?" Her voice wasn't angry. It was careful. Like she was afraid the question itself would get her in trouble. I didn't answer. Because I already knew who had. Great-Grandma Ruth had taught Hannah to play. Not with lessons. With time. She'd sit beside her and tap the stand when Hannah's posture slipped. "Your left hand is shouting," she'd say. Hannah would giggle and fix it. Ruth didn't say "good job" unless it meant something. She said, "better." That was better. And Hannah felt seen. In my parents' house, she usually didn't. My sister's kids, Logan and Mia, were loud. Spilled juice. Ran through halls. They were called spirited. If Hannah laughed too loudly, my mom said, "Inside voice, sweetheart," with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. If Logan shouted, my dad laughed and said, "He's got lungs." If Mia demanded attention, my sister scooped her up like she was royalty. Hannah learned to be quiet. Ruth noticed. So she gave her the room. And when Ruth moved into assisted living, she gave Hannah the violin. Not with a ceremony. Just with a sentence. "This belongs to you now." She had paperwork. Photos. Insurance. She showed me once. "People get strange around valuable things," she said. I nodded. I just didn't think she meant my parents. I left Hannah in the music room. I needed to hear it out loud. My mom was in the kitchen with coffee. My dad sat scrolling his tablet. My sister, Lauren, leaned against the counter. "Where's Hannah's violin?" I asked. My dad said, "We sold it." I blinked. "You sold it? It was valuable," he said. "And Ruth isn't using it." "It wasn't hers anymore," I said. "It was Hannah's." Lauren laughed. "She's 11. My mom set her mug down. "We needed money." "For what?" "For the new place," she said, gesturing outside. "For family." "My daughter is family," I said. "She can use a school violin," my dad replied. "She won't know the difference." I stared at him. "She will." Lauren rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic." I turned and went back to Hannah. She was sitting on the bench, hands folded in her lap. "We're going home," I said. She nodded. That was worse than crying. Hannah practiced on a borrowed violin from school. The sound was thin, flat. She kept adjusting. "I can still practice," she said. "It just doesn't sound like me." I stood in the doorway pretending not to notice her blinking too hard. That night I drove to see Ruth. Ruth listened without interrupting. When I finished, she asked one question. "Did they touch the file?" "The file?" "The violin paperwork," she said. "Photos. Appraisal. Insurance." I nodded. She smiled. That violin was never theirs. I didn't understand. But I would. Weeks passed. My parents posted pictures of construction progress. Lauren posted Logan and Mia in hard hats. Hannah got quieter. Then the invitation came. Family barbecue. Grand opening. Ruth called me. "We're going," she said. The backyard was full of people. My mom raised a glass. Family sacrifices for family. That's when Ruth walked in. With her lawyer. And the air changed. The violin was held in trust, Ruth said. "My great-granddaughter is the beneficiary." Lauren gasped. My dad went pale. "You sold something you did not own." Papers were handed over. Police report. Civil demand. Hannah squeezed my hand. And for the first time since the violin disappeared. She smiled. No one moved. Not at first. The backyard full of voices and music had turned into a room with no sound. My grandmother Ruth stood near the patio door like she owned the air. Her lawyer, Mr. Collins, held a slim folder against his chest. My mother's smile was frozen halfway between pride and panic. "What is this?" my father asked. Ruth looked at him calmly. "It is the truth." She turned to the crowd. "I won't take much of your time," she said. "You came to swim. I came to correct a theft." My sister Lauren scoffed. "You're being dramatic." Ruth didn't look at her. She looked at my parents. "The violin was placed in trust," she said. "My great-granddaughter Hannah is the beneficiary. I am the trustee." My mom shook her head. "We didn't know that." "You didn't ask," Ruth said. Mr. Collins stepped forward. "You sold property that does not belong to you," he said. "That is conversion. We have filed a report and contacted the buyer." My father swallowed. "Where is it?" he asked. Ruth smiled. "Safe." Hannah's breath caught. I felt her fingers tighten around mine. The party began dissolving. Drinks lowered. People remembered errands. Children were pulled from the pool. My mother whispered, "You humiliated us." Ruth answered, "You did that yourself." My parents didn't speak to me that day. Lauren did. She cornered me near the car. "You planned this," she said. "No," I said. "You did." She walked away. That night, Hannah slept holding her sheet music. She didn't practice. She just touched the pages. 3 days later, Ruth called. "They found it," she said. The buyer had been a private collector. Not evil, just careless. When the lawyer explained the trust, he returned it. Angry. Embarrassed. He wanted his money back. And my parents didn't have it. Concrete, and would don't turn back into cash. My mom came to my apartment. She looked smaller. "We were just trying to help Lauren," she said. "With stolen money," I replied. She needed space for her kids. "So did mine," I said. My mom cried. I didn't think Hannah would notice. I stared at her. "That's worse." Hannah practiced every day. On a rental violin. She didn't complain. But she stopped humming. Her teacher noticed. "She's holding back," she told me. Like she's afraid to take up space. That hurt more than anger. The violin came back in a black hard case. Ruth opened it slowly. Hannah touched it like it was breathing. She didn't speak. She hugged Ruth instead. And Ruth closed her eyes. 2 weeks later, Ruth invited my parents and Lauren to her apartment. Mr. Collins was there. He handed them envelopes. "Notice to vacate," he said. 60 days. My father's voice broke. "You're kicking us out?" Ruth tilted her head. "You sold from a house that was never yours." Lauren yelled. "This is about Hannah." Ruth looked at her. "No. This is about you." Lauren moved out first. My parents stayed. They argued about money. They argued about blame. They stopped arguing to me. Hannah changed. She spoke up. Small things at first. I was sitting there. "I don't like that joke." When my mom corrected her once, Hannah said quietly, "I'm allowed to be loud when I play." Ruth smiled. 60 days passed. Boxes appeared in my parents' house. For sale signs followed. Hannah practiced in our apartment. And Ruth called me one night. "It's done," she said. "Tomorrow the house becomes yours." The moving truck came on a Tuesday. Not because Tuesday meant anything. Because it was the first day my parents couldn't delay anymore. Hannah watched from our car as boxes were carried out of the house she used to feel small inside. "Are they really leaving?" she asked. "Yes," I said. She nodded slowly. Not happy. Not sad. Just understanding. Some lessons don't need celebrating. Ruth met us at the front door. Not as a visitor. As the owner again. She handed me a key. "This is not a gift," she said. "It's protection." We walked through empty rooms. No construction noise. No shouting. Just quiet. Hannah walked into the music room. Her violin case was already there. She opened it. Played one note. The sound filled the house like it belonged there. Ruth sat in a chair and listened. No inside voice. No corrections. Just music. My parents moved into a small rental. Lauren stopped calling. When she did, it was only to complain. They ruined everything, she said once. I replied, no, they showed us who they were. She hung up. Hannah auditioned for youth orchestra. She practiced harder than ever. Not to prove something. To claim it. The letter came on a Thursday. She got in. She didn't scream. She hugged Ruth. I sounded like me again, she said. My mom came once. She stood in the doorway of the music room. I didn't think it would matter so much, she said. Hannah looked at her. It mattered to me. That was all. Hannah learned something bigger than music. She learned. Her things matter. Her voice matters. Her space matters. And when someone tries to take them, she doesn't shrink anymore. Spring came. Music filled the house. Ruth made tea. Hannah practiced. And I finally understood. This was never about a violin. It was about choosing the child who was always expected to be quiet. And choosing her loudly. A year passed. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just one normal day at a time. But everything was different. The house didn't feel borrowed anymore. It felt earned. Hannah chose paint for the music room. Soft blue. Like sky but inside, she said. We put up shelves for her music books. Frames for her certificates. Ruth visited every Sunday. She didn't teach anymore. She listened. And that was better. One night my phone rang. It was my father. I heard Hannah has a concert. I didn't answer right away. Yes, I said finally. A pause. Can we come? I looked at Hannah across the room. She was tuning her violin. I told her. She thought for a moment. They can come, she said. But they sit in the back. The hall was small. Wooden chairs. Low ceiling. But the sound was huge. Hannah walked on stage with the orchestra. Not shrinking. Not hiding. She stood straight. The first note came from her violin. And I saw my mother's face break. Not with pride. With regret. Because you can't rewind respect. My mom hugged Hannah. You were beautiful, she said. Hannah nodded. Thank you. No apology asked. No forgiveness demanded. Just distance that knew its shape. My father said quietly. I didn't know it was that important. Hannah replied. It was my voice. That winter, Ruth called us to her apartment. She gave Hannah a small box. Inside, a silver key necklace. For the music room, she said. So you remember what is yours. Hannah wore it to school. Every day. Hannah was 16 when she won her first competition. Scholarship offer. Summer program. She practiced in the same room. Same window. Same violin. One evening she said, Dad. Yeah. Thank you for not letting them take it. I swallowed. It wasn't just the violin, I said. I know, she replied. It was me. One night, Hannah played alone in the room. Ruth sat in her chair. Tea in her hands. The melody floated through the house. Not quiet. Not afraid. Just hers. And I understood something simple. Sometimes protecting a child's object protects their future. Time doesn't ask permission. It just keeps moving. And Hannah moved with it. Hannah left for music college with one suitcase. And one violin case. She hugged Ruth before leaving. I'll make you proud, she said. Ruth smiled. You already did. Her dorm room was small. But every night music filled it. She worked part-time. Studied harder. Never missed practice. Because once, someone tried to take her voice. And she never forgot. One winter morning, a letter arrived. From my sister Lauren. It was short. Logan wants to learn violin. Can Hannah teach him? I laughed. Not cruelly. Just tiredly. I showed Hannah. She read it. Folded it. She can pay, Hannah said. Lessons aren't free. Logan came. Same loud boy. Bigger now. He held the cheap violin wrong. Hannah corrected him gently. Not bitter. Not angry. Just professional. Lauren watched from the door. You always had talent, she said. Hannah replied calmly. I had protection. Ruth passed away quietly one spring. No pain. No fear. Just sleep. At the funeral, Hannah played. The same violin. The same melody Ruth taught her first. Everyone cried. Even my parents. Especially my parents. Ruth left one final instruction. The house to Hannah. The violin to Hannah. A scholarship fund. For children whose voices are ignored. My mother read it with shaking hands. She whispered. She never forgave us. I answered. She didn't have to. Years later, Hannah opened a small music school. Nothing fancy. Just warm rooms. And open windows. On the wall, a photo of Ruth, a violin case, and a sign, "Your voice belongs to you." One evening, Hannah said, "Dad, if they hadn't taken my violin, I might never have learned how important it was." I smiled. "Some people steal things," I said, "and accidentally create something stronger." She played that night, not for family, not for revenge, for herself, and for every child who was told to be quiet.